was a very nice meal. Did you make it?
Frank, we're waiting for you.
We are waiting for you.
Well, start without me, now you gotta work. Start without me.
Welcome to the November 2nd, 2022 Economic Development Commission. Call to order. And we're going to start right away with Frank doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm ready. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done as always, Frank. Roll call. I'm looking, I think we've got, who are we missing?
I was confused about the chairs. I think I'm supposed to sit there.
No, that's all right.
fine.
Does it look, I can't see from this side, look like every name is taken?
Except for one,
Oh, Bob.
Bob.
Bob Stiglich?
No, Bob
Bob's right
B.
there. Oh, the other Bob.
Bob B.
Okay, so everyone's here but Bob. There's how we do roll call. Approval of minutes. Any comments or questions from last September? I think Jamie did a nice job in all of that.
I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Second,
Opposed? I'd say we move. Approved. All right, let's move on to the Economic Development Commission review, old business, the Business Retention, Expansion, and Attraction Partnership Program updates. Well, I'm involved with that. But also, I'm not the only one going on that meeting. Is there a list on here as how many, or where we went? Did Jamie give us that?
Yeah, so you have a memo in front of you that lists out some of the previous visits as well as future visits. It's my understanding that there will be 18 total visits, so a couple of them have happened already. Quite a few of them will happen throughout the rest of the year. A number of staff and commission members have joined on these visits. I am not one of them, but many of you are. So if you have anything you'd like to share with the broader commission about the experience that you had on those visits or any other particulars, please go ahead and take the floor.
I think you were at the Warrior Nutrition, weren't you?
Hampton Inn.
The Hampton Inn?
I was at the Hampton Inn.
Well, how'd that go?
That was very interesting. If you guys get an opportunity to participate, if one of the dates line up with your schedules, I'd encourage you to take advantage of it. We went to the Hampton Inn. That's part of the Hilton. The manager that we talked to, one of the things he says, he rarely gets an opportunity to talk with people. So he really appreciated that we came over and made the time, made the effort to check in with him, see what his business was about, the things he specifically was concerned about. One of the things we learned is that the Gold Line, he's looking forward to having the Gold Line. He sees that as a potential not only for having customers come out, business people that come into town, they have business in St. Paul, but they can get out of the city, come out here to Oakdale and stay here. And that's something that they want to do. But then they don't have to rent a car. They can just hop on the Gold Line and head back in and out. He also sees that as a good thing for workers. He has a lot of large worker contingent that's in St. Paul itself. And so just having an opportunity for the workers to come out and not have to have a car. They come out all kinds of modes of transportation, but that adds another one to his mix, makes his employment opportunities greater. So he has a greater appeal to potential workers. One of the things that we found out that he wanted is, and he didn't think of this until I said, is a list of events. You think about that, everybody, vacationers come into town. Oh, okay, now I'm in town, what do I want to do? Well, that makes sense, but did we ever think of it until he said so? So we learned a lot of interesting tidbits from the fellow that we talked with.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was lucky enough to be on the Park Tool visit, and the location is great. The facility is fantastic. They keep that up so well. And his employees, I forget the number he has, but he's able to keep a solid number of employees in Oakdale. And he's got his own means of figuring out who to hire. And so he hasn't really had a need to go to Washington County or anything like that. He's got a good program with his human resources. The product that he makes is so unique that his competition is far and few. And so he makes such a good quality for the bikes that he sets the bar pretty high, and it's tough for anybody else to reach that. And that's with a lot of Oakdale, I'd say, as far as a lot of Oakdale people involved right there. So we're lucky to have him. I was also at the Animal Emergency Referral Center up here, and that facility is another amazing facility. And for them to be able to take in the volume of cats and dogs and what other animals are there is incredible. The fact that they're building the new location, I think that's going to open up here within 30 days. I think they're going to have a grand opening. And the volume of business that they have is such a means as far as how many they have to handle. They needed a second facility. And they've got enough employees there to handle it. And it's one of the few, I think, veterinary clinics that is employee-owned. So it's not owned by Big Brother or anything. It's actually veterinarians who will own that. And it's one of the things that I think that makes it unique. One of their main concerns was the crosswalk right there. And since my office is about a block away, I see the volume of traffic that's on Helmo, and they're very concerned about, they have so many employees crossing right there. I think there could be maybe a little bit more done, some flashing lights, even more of that. They've supplied some bigger signs themselves so that their employees are safe when they do cross. But otherwise, they're thrilled to be in Oakdale. The location off 10th Street is great. They wanted to make sure that that the interchange there from, as you exit off 694, and you can enter into the parking lot for home furniture there, they want to make sure that that stays light as it is. I think the county is looking to maybe shut that down, possibly. So they would be very opposed to that, and I think that makes sense to keep that open. What was there? And there was another one, too. Hampton Inn, Greg Foot Jewelers. So Greg Foot Jewelers, Greg himself, started his business literally here in Oakdale, and he's expanded since. He's got, I think, now 3 employees. Service. He can't, if you haven't gone there to have maybe your watch taken care of or an appraisal done on a ring, he does take care of you. And we're lucky to have a jeweler of such a high quality, I think, in town. So he was very thankful for the city stopping by and the chamber. And he's very involved, I know, in the chamber also. And he's looking forward to a lot more years here in the city of Oakdale. So these visits are priceless for, I think, a lot of these business owners.
Is he the one that's near the Holiday? Is that?
Yeah.
where's-
So
Right-
he's near
right near
All
Ward-
Family Dental there.
All right, yep, okay.
Yeah. So he's in that building there. And for being a jeweler, there's been really no real issues with anything as far as theft. And he praised the Oakdale Police Department for being on the ball all the time when he's up there. So kudos. I think that's it for the visits. Not sure who's on, yeah. We can move on to the development bus tour recap.
Yes, which I was on, so I can
you
say
were.
something about that.
You were at the front of the bus.
Yes, I was. So the development bus tour happened on October 4th. It was a chance for commissioners from the EDC, but also from the Environmental Management Commission and the Planning Commission to join city council members and take a tour of Oakdale to learn more about the development and redevelopment projects that are happening in our city. As you all know, there's a lot happening in the city. So we started in sort of North Oakdale, saw a couple of proposed sites, moved down south, saw some development opportunities and redevelopment. There are projects in all stages of construction at this point. So we saw some bare ground, but we also saw fully developed buildings like the Animal Emergency Referral Center and home furnishings. And again, it was just a chance to show off what Oakdale is doing. I think that we received a lot of very positive feedback from the experience, and so it's something that we hope to continue again in future years. If you are interested, this packet does include a map that shows some of the different locations that the bus tour stopped at. And I use the word stop very generously. Most everyone stayed on the bus at all times. Everyone stayed on the bus at all times. But this is something, again, that we'd like to do in the future. So I encourage you, if it's of interest to you, to please join us. If anyone did come on the bus tour this past time around and would like to share any of their experiences, I'd be happy to hear them. Frank?
I can't believe all the dirt that's being moved in Oakdale. And I think within 3 to 5 years, you won't recognize Oakdale for what it was. There, just every place, there's dirt being turned over, buildings going up. It's just unbelievable. And it kind of almost happened overnight, too, in my opinion. But I'm sure it's well planned ahead, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I thank you for that tour. I thought that was just wonderful. It's so hard to see things, you're riding by and you see a pile of dirt and you don't know what it is and all that, but you told us, you showed us what it was all about. I appreciate that. Yep.
The floor is yours.
So I took notes, of course.
You?
Me, yeah. But no, I was impressed as well. I've heard a lot of the developments that were going on, that are going on with the city, but to actually get eyes on, and with the narrative along with actual site visits is just really impressive. We went down, like you're saying, down to Tanner's Lake, seeing that property. I heard a lot about it over the years, and now I get to see it in person, and now you kind of understand better the challenges that we have with that. Going up to the home furniture, I was at their grand opening, so I got to see it after. I got to visit the theater before, so understanding that transformation from the old theater to the home furniture, and then seeing the animal hospital there, and then understanding what home furniture is thinking of doing beyond that, what was described to us on the tour. That's just exciting right there. Going around in Willowbrook, there's a lot of discussion. We spent a lot of time in Willowbrook, actually, discussing progress, what was next, the order of how things are put together, just expectations around there. And then we drove up, like you said, up on the north side, got to see the Priority Courier place and what was planning there, and the Glenbrook Small Area Plan. We just went through there real briefly, but now I got a visual on it. So it's really good to tie those words, those places with the actual images. I appreciated that. Thank you.
I'd second that. Or third that, right, Frank? But seriously, it was a really good, I think you should do it, every year, every other year. I mean, it really opened, I experienced the exact same thing that you just described. I mean, it really, being able to see these things, and because I've heard it, and who's got time? I live in Oakdale, obviously, but I'm not going to take time to drive all, and I fly by these places, I don't even realize they're there, but to actually have the key people that know what's going on, it was a great event. I very much appreciated it.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was a great tour, and I think as a commissioner, I think it was one of the first times I really felt like engaged in the city, as being kind of invited with all these other city people, and everybody's doing it. So, yeah, I think it's a really, I would continue to do that because it really it gave me a feeling of being more involved.
Well, I think with as much development that's going on in the city of Oakdale, from, we look at today versus a year from now, it'll be really interesting to see how the dirt is turned into 7-story building, or how many more houses have been put up there in Willowbrook. So it'll be real interesting, yeah.
I drove by the one up by Crossroads Ford, where Crossroads used to be, where Crossroads is. Remember, we went by that and there was big hole in the ground. And then I went by there a week later or so, and they already started building. There's a structure going in already. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's super helpful to be able to educate the community as well, because I don't know about you, but when I'm going places, I hear people all the time, my road's closed still. And so that, when we were able to get the education of it should be paved and painted by Monday, then you're able to communicate that around to your holiday gas station attendant or my chiropractor or whomever is frustrated with roads being closed. So I think it's really helpful to be able to pass along the information and educate the community.
There we go. I'd say it was a winner.
Good.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
There we go. It's on tape. Is it tape anymore? It's not tape anymore, is it?
Live TV.
Yeah,
Digital, all digital.
yeah, YouTube. Shall we go to the 2023 draft EDC? Have you got this one?
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to move on to a little bit more of an interactive session for this meeting. You have in front of you a draft plan for the coming year. Now, the purpose of this plan is to really guide the activities of the commission and to provide some sort of a framework for what you're going to accomplish in 2023. The draft plan is founded in our city's comprehensive plan. So all of these activities that you see here referenced in the draft plan, they originate in the comprehensive plan. That's where it starts. If you have any specific questions about where that comes from, Jamie can tell you a little bit more. But again, I would reference the comprehensive plan if you're wondering where these goals start from and why these activities are on the draft plan. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is to get your feedback on what's included in the draft work plan. If you have any changes that you would like to make, if there are any edits to the draft work plan that you would like to see happen, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. The timeline for this is you all will give your feedback on the plan at this meeting. It will be finalized at the next meeting, or if you feel like it's totally ready to go now, you can also say so. The commission is invited to pass a motion in support of the work plan itself, and then that will be presented to City Council sometime in the first quarter of the coming year, so that they have an idea of what you of a commission have agreed on as your priorities for the coming year, and they have a chance to be able to speak into that process as well. So I invite you to take a couple minutes just to look this over, and then if you have any feedback to provide, please go ahead and share.
So this makes for good TV, the silence of reading.
I know. And I did just say it was interactive, and now it's going to be silent.
Well, I have a question right off.
Yeah.
The, in every one of these lines, it says ED best practice. Where did best practice come from? I'll tell you my background on that is I've been presented with what was best practice, but that really wasn't best practice for that situation. Somebody saying, well, this is best practice. They just wanted to go somewhere. And so my question is, how is this best practice established? Where did it come from?
So I do not know that answer, but I will ask Jamie if she could go ahead and forward that document to you.
Okay.
It could be in the comprehensive plan itself, and that's where she's getting it from, but I will get an answer.
Okay.
So in the meantime, past the ED best practice, we'll keep moving on through the rest of it. So, shall we start out with the first one, business retention and expansion, the BR and E? As far as the description of it, it's pretty black and white. my view is it's essential, I think, for us to continue to keep doing that, and for as many of the commissioners to get involved with that also, with that. I will not be as involved this year in going through all of them, so everybody should get a chance to go on these. I think that's just the fact that, you know, on the chamber, on this, I've been able to cross both of them, but they've been so enriching, I would think that everybody should get a chance at doing a few of these. It'd be
If we
nice.
can get some information on how we can, that would be fabulous.
So the St. Paul Chamber, Kim O'Brien is the one who sets them up.
Okay.
And so she'll have a list of who they are and when they are. And she wouldn't be able to throw it out to 10 people. So she'll probably go down the list of, okay, you know, she'll drop it to 2 people. Can you make it? Because you also have the city being involved, and they've got to do their own. But it'll make sense. It'll come through everybody here to get a chance.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions on the BR&E? I think we're just, is this what we're supposed to be doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, you got it.
All right. Move on to the market, Oakdale, for economic development purposes. Advise the city staff on good music.
Whoops. Sorry about that. Not me.
Advise city staff and the city council on implementing economic development best practices, marketing strategies, continuing the work started in late 2022. I think anytime we get a chance to advise the city council, we would love to. You know, anytime they ask, we always have an opinion. Yeah. Any comments on that?
I maybe have a question. It says work started in 2022, community profiles, community safety data. Though I don't know exactly what those were or are. Do you know?
I will ask Jamie to provide you with an update, just as a refresher.
Okay, thanks.
And don't be surprised, and thank you for showing up here for Jamie. But Jamie is the one who put all this together.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, that took some work just to put this stuff together. So if there are going to be some questions that, you know, we might not get answers tonight, but we will get them.
I think the community profiles was that guy that came and gave the high-level overview of our segmentation of businesses and categories.
Okay.
It was a whole meeting that time. That was that piece. And I think I missed the safety one. There was somebody else that came in and did a safety.
Or was it part of that?
I think it was
Profile.
all the same.
Was it the same
Yeah,
one?
because
Okay.
it was in that big packet with all the
Okay.
economic
Okay.
data.
I think it was all
Must have
together.
fallen
one
asleep after later.
presentation.
But didn't we do it also, the exercise with, you know, stoplights and crosswalks and safety? Would that be part of the safety data?
So that's different. What you did was helping out with the bike and pedestrian plan update.
That's the fifth line on there.
That's under
See,
5.
I'm not reading ahead. See? Well, we can skip right down to that one then.
Oh, I just wanted to, with that second one, the idea of marketing Oakdale. If there's a way that we could do better marketing or different marketing or additional marketing, say this is a great place to bring your business, to establish it. The ones that have come in, I don't know really how they've decided to come here. But if we could capture that and expand on that, that could help us as well.
I think part of that is helping us understand what is the city doing now, because I really don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what they're doing,
Yeah,
so.
there's a lot of
I think
questions still.
from our standpoint, it'd really be helpful, I think, to understand what they're doing, so we can say, oh, well, have you thought of that? 'Cause
that.
I think a lot of the ideas I might have, they're already doing.
Yeah, and I also, I know too that there's limits to what we can do. You know, we can't really go out and say, well, I want my Taco John's down in this corner versus I want this other restaurant over here versus this tire shop over there. And you can't do that. You can say, I'd like that, and you can work with that, but, you know, they got their own marketing plan as to how they put things in. So what can we do to make our areas more potent, you know, a lot more potential to say, hey, this is ripe for putting this kind of a business in, whether it's through a zoning effort or something else. I don't know what the tools are, so in that respect, I'm just like what you're saying.
I know the city's been doing an update on their website, and one of the things I think that kind of has gotten lost on there when you look on the new one is that there's not, other than just a direct link to the chamber website, but there's not any information for anybody who's looking at Oakdale for homes or businesses on what's here already. I don't, know if that's possible or not, or if there's a way to, but, as a new homeowner, I would want to know, like, what schools are here, what preschools, what, where's my local bakery, where's my church, like, just, and that used to be on our website, and that's not anymore. So not just new businesses, but existing businesses.
I can foresee a marketing night for us, just to kind of get a handle on what,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and start throwing around some of those ideas if we understand what's going on.
feedback, thinking, looking in,
Yeah, I'm surprised it isn't.
yeah.
You'd think that'd be 101,
You would think so.
website giving information like that.
Yeah.
I know our communications team just went through a website refresh, and they're a brand new communications team as well. So I think that they would be very open to knowing what should be put onto the website and how it can be edited appropriately.
Yeah, like something as simple as you want to see what businesses are in Oakdale. And I think the city has access to that. They can have a large list of doing that. But that's also, maybe we have that in conjunction with the chamber also, where they could be tagged over here if you want to get more information.
Right.
Because the city shouldn't be promoting one business over another.
Right. But
You
here's
wanna-
a link to local.
But here's a link to the chamber that maybe is stronger. We can discuss that at another time.
On marketing night.
Good idea.
Any more comment on that section? The city property and redevelopment planning, which is a comprehensive plan land use chapter, assists the city staff and city council with marketing efforts. For example, the Tanner's Lake parcel, and advise city staff and the city council on redevelopment of, as appropriate, again, for the Tanner's Lake parcels. So, yeah, anytime the city council wants to know, we're open. I don't know, is it something where we would, again, as a liaison, how would we let the city council know that, hey, we got some other ideas, or if you have questions?
You could send me an email if you wanted to. I could take notes from the meeting. They watch the meetings most likely.
Right,
So there's all kinds of ways we can get it to all of us.
okay.
But I'm happy to bring the information to them anytime you need me to.
And I think that's what this section is. It sounds like it's just, everything is Tanner's Lake on this one. Am I wrong?
I think that's because that's a focus for the next year.
Yeah. Now, I know they've got a, well, they're going to go in, you're going to go into it a little bit with the Tanner's Lake redevelopment opportunities, the next section, so we can keep moving, I think, on that.
Yeah.
Develop and maintain partnerships. Collaborate with local organizations, government agencies, and other partners on projects and programs. An example, Washington County, Chamber, any other affiliations also. Any comment on this? Well, I think we're all in favor of collaborating with local organizations. It would be against the EDC to not collaborate as much as you can. And I know that the chamber is looking to, we've got some fresh blood in there, and we're trying to move forward and promote more businesses here in Oakdale and the area. So I think it's a great time with all the development going on here in Oakdale for this to be happening. So we're looking forward to working with the city. Provide input through local government engagement and planning processes, which means participate, provide input as appropriate for local and regional initiatives and studies, such as the bike and pedestrian plan updates, Glenbrook Small Area Plan, provide input on as appropriate for local policies and ordinances. Are we going to be doing another, we're not going to be doing another one where we're putting paper up on the walls and doing it again, or do you want more involvement there?
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be doing a SWOT analysis again, but the point of this section is to say that the Community Development Department is conducting a number of different studies, and we're trying to see about ways to engage the commissions in providing feedback on those studies. You guys are a very natural audience. You are all residents of Oakdale, so what you have to say about these studies is relevant. And it made sense for the bike and ped plan for you to be part of that conversation. I don't know as much about how the EDC might be involved in the Glenbrook small area study, but there could be opportunities in the future for future engagement.
I think the importance there is being included in the planning process
Sure.
rather than the after the fact, here's what we did.
Yep.
Like, I think that bike and pedestrian plan was exactly, that's the right thing. It's like, it's not already a done deal. It's like, oh, well, let's get their input before we implement something. So I really like that direction.
And that goes for a lot of different programs, We gain value if they ask us before the decision is made and if they actually care. So that's where we hope. Any other comments on that? Commissioner Education. Frank, I think we know everything, don't we?
There's very few things you and I don't know, Bill.
All right. Well, for the others, participate in city-sponsored educational events or trainings as provided, such as the bus tour, very enlightening, educational topics incorporated into regular meetings. So I think we're all open for anything along those lines. And the more we can learn about the city of Oakdale, what's going on, what's going to be going on, what is possibly going on, we'd love to be involved with it that way, I think. Comments? Nailed it? So with that, we have to make a motion to pass. Is that correct?
So Jamie will review all of the comments that you have provided today. She will put together a finalized plan that's edited based on what you've said so far, and she'll bring that back to the commission, at which point you can go ahead and make a motion to support it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let's move to that Tanner's Lake redevelopment opportunity and Expo recap.
Yes, so I will give you a very high-level summary, and then the theme of tonight is if you have any more questions, I will forward them on to Jamie. So what I've been told about Tanner's Lake, the city acquired this property, this parcel, over a decade ago, and since then, a number of different proposals have been received for the parcel, but none of them have gone through to the actual planning phases for a variety of reasons. So as was mentioned, making sure to market this parcel is a focus for the coming year. And in this memo in front of you, you have been provided with information about where the city is currently marketing the Tanner's Lake property. There are a couple of different sites. So we're marketing on our current website. It's also on Washington County's CDA website. And then it has been added to this MNCAR listing. So I was told this is basically the commercial property listing for the state of Minnesota. Individuals who are interested in acquiring commercial property can find Tanner's Lake within this listing. In the memo, there are links to all of those different websites if you would like to go there and see a little bit more information. And then also included in the memo is just a breakdown of what some of those marketing pieces look like that are available on the website. So if you have specific questions about the Tanner's Lake property, I would go ahead and say forward those along to Jamie or even to our council members. But just know that this is something that the city would really like to make sure and focus on in the coming year.
I'd actually like to open it up to the commissioners. Is anybody got any ideas on what to put there?
I think Bill hasn't, I think everything has been talked about and run by the council, hasn't it? I mean, haven't you had interested parties talk to the council about this property?
The last one was a small hotel with a restaurant and a balcony or rooftop dining and a bar. That was what, a year and a half ago, I think maybe even before COVID.
And nothing came of it?
It was close.
It would be a nice area for a restaurant.
There used to be two restaurants on that site.
What was that original back in the day? And it was very.
Toby's.
Toby's, yeah, Toby's on the Lake, yeah.
Toby's.
I love
Blackies.
Toby's. That was a great restaurant.
Yeah.
You mean like Toby's up north, Hinkley? Toby's?
I, of course, have my own
But
ideas
Toby-
on
no,
what we
this
should
one,
put
Toby's
there.
on the Lake.
No, it's not a
There's
landing
restaurant
strip.
Called Toby's on the Lake, right there.
But on the north end of that property, it's lower. So it's, then majority of the property is a little elevated over the top of Tanner's. And we have a bait shop in town by the name of Blue Ribbon Bait. On the north end of that property would be a fantastic place for a Blue Ribbon Bait shop right there. They have big turnaround for boats and things. You have a little boat ramp for private. And Josh would be able to bring in all kinds of sponsors from worldwide to bring into, since he would have access to a lake. And there's not a single bait shop in the metro area that would have access to a little lake to show kids how to fish, to have mom and dad be at the end of the dock and he's showing them all this kind of stuff. But that would involve the fact that the other parcel, the majority of the parcel wouldn't have to be an apartment building. It would have to be something else other than to take that, because he's not taking that whole property. So it'd have to be in conjunction with another business that would be right there.
So you're talking about one on the page, right?
No,
You're
talking,
Two?
The corner end of 2.
yeah,
Oh, I see.
yes. So where that little wedge is up on, so on 2, you can see where the driveway comes in, it's notched there. Right there. You draw a line straight there. That's all the area that he would need. The majority of the rest of that wedge could be used for any other commercial product right there. But it would involve finding someone who would be willing to do that. And it would put Oakdale on the map again for another positive way, I think. And you got a young business owner who's willing to do it. Anyway, so that's me thinking outside the box.
Are the privately owned vacant parcels, is that like not a possibility of being part of this development?
I think it is. I do. You've got elevation issues. I walked around it last week, and you've got a retaining wall on the top of 2 and a little ways down on 2, so it creates a little bit of a challenge. Those condos or apartments right there have got a great view of the lake, and they're being, I think all their balconies are being repaired right now, but it's a great location. But, yeah. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
Are these real estate marketing is not my area of expertise, but I don't know. Mr. Stiglitz, are these the places where a developer would go to find these?
Well, it's a lakefront. You'd think there'd be a lot of interest in it. But the awkward shape probably hinders things.
Sure.
And the grade changes in it.
Are these-
Marketing it and through MNCAR is a great idea. That's where everybody where the realtors operate from.
Okay.
And the city, of course, always is here to answer questions whenever there's a contact. The city's on top of that all the time.
And the city's intent would be to sell it to the developer, not to rent. Okay, we want to get out and sell the parcel, right, okay.
We've owned it long enough.
Yeah,
So, excuse me, that number 1 and then privately owned vacant lot. And then to the right of that is the apartments, is that correct?
Yes.
They're condos, I think, aren't they?
I think they're
I
condos.
think there's the condos. Anyway, so this one in the privately owned, is that a part and parcel to number 2 here? Is that all hooked together?
I don't think so, no.
No?
Literally, as it says, it's privately owned.
Yep,
That little piece got right
separate
there.
piece.
yep,
Yep.
And then number 1 is what, another separately owned, you think?
No, that's, we own that.
yep.
So what about this privately owned vacant? I mean, maybe if they could hook this whole thing together, it might be more saleable.
I think they've spoken to the privately owned, that party, and they realize, I think, that whatever happens to 1 or 2, they would like to probably be involved with it to see if they could sell it with it, maybe. Yeah, but we don't own it, we being the city.
Yeah, but now that we do have Jamie and Andy on board, we have dedicated staff who are able to shepherd that relationship, so they will maintain conversation with these private owners.
Okay. So I'm gonna bet that all these years that that's been in our domain, and nothing has come of it, and I'm thinking it might be, it may never be nothing come of it, right? I mean, it just, obviously, it's a hard piece of property to sell or develop.
As Bob said, though, it's waterfront, so that makes it
Well,
attractive.
that's right, but still, how many years has it been sitting there and nobody's bit?
We can only try, right?
Oh, I know, I understand. And they've been trying, the city's been trying to sell this for years,
Well, with
or
all
get development.
With all the apartment buildings that are being built, the high-rise apartments, I would think that that could work there. The cities.
The one challenge right now, though, is obviously, as you know, the cost of everything going up to, if they were to put an apartment building in there now, with the cost being so high, what would they have to charge to actually make a dollar?
It's a good question.
Yeah. That will be their challenge. Yeah.
But the Lakeview aspect of a restaurant with a rooftop, a hotel, or, condos with Lakeview, you could get more. I think it really will be developed. It's just a matter of time. We need to really market it by putting it on that site. I mean, seriously, lakefront that's big. People love to look out their window over the lake. And you got to put a little balcony there, or you put a restaurant on top of a roof with that vantage point. And a restaurant, you could put a restaurant down in there, and it's right across from 3M. There's nobody going to 3M anymore, but.
I think once
I'm surprised it hasn't sold in all these years.
I think once the economy kind of recovers from COVID and all of the inflation and the Fed's raising the interest rates and all of that, I think once we level out, it should go, as long as everything is a little bit more price friendly.
Well, we can only hope.
Didn't we acquire that, like, kind of right before '08?
It's been over 10 years, I think, hasn't it? Easily. Yeah,
I think it's 2008.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So, I mean, that would make sense if the development didn't happen right away.
Yep.
Bob, have you ever considered this property at all?
No, I haven't. It's not the kind of, wouldn't put an office warehouse there.
Yep.
But I really think that residential, maybe you have a retail or a restaurant below and you could have apartments above or some combination like that. Seems to be popular.
Like those apartments that they're putting in by Target or whatever, where they have the retail on the bottom and on the top, they look so nice. They're so nice.
Okay. Why don't we go to the council liaison update? Sure.
I had to write it down because there was a lot of words and I would never remember them. It was a rough night last night.
Talk about last night, or
It was
brought
just-
it up?
It was the candidate forum, so.
Oh, okay,
it
all
was
right.
stressful and-
Thankfully, it was just that.
Yeah. So we did approve the Roars at Willowbrook, 7th edition. They had a PUD amendment, a variance for highway noise, as a matter of fact. The final plat and the site plan, so they should start building there pretty soon. That's a multifamily, like apartment building.
So you mentioned, so are they putting up the big wall for the noise abatement, or what's going on there?
No,
No.
no, and they just have a variance right now, and what do they call them, berms? Is that what it's called? That's not gonna work, and we have to work with MnDOT and the state to get a wall. But the developer is not putting up a wall, is my understanding. But the way they build their buildings, it's more soundproof. They're using better quality materials so that the highway noise doesn't come through as much.
That's on the western piece of that property, is that correct?
Oh, boy. Western, yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I had to think north, south, which,
So that'll be north of the big building that's going in right now, being built by Ryan.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. It's gonna be quite the interesting mix up there when it's all done.
No.
Grocery store and all kinds of things going in. Oh, and I forgot to welcome Luccia, so welcome.
Thank you.
And as you guys know, we're working on the Glenbrook Small Area Plan, and we're just in phase 1 right now. And for the last few months, the council has been going chapter by chapter through the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. We've made some wording updates, maybe removed a couple of things, so that'll be coming through as well. That was a lot of work, and Andy was really good at getting that all done and keeping us organized and keeping good notes, so that'll be updated soon. And last but not least, I believe we're not having a meeting next month, so I want to wish you all happy holidays if I don't see any of you. And also, I appreciate you guys letting me be here every meeting. And if I don't see you next year, I just want to say thank you. And good luck with everything if I'm not here, but still good luck if I'm here, but good luck if I'm not here as well. It was a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for me at all?
Frank, you've got a question.
Well, no, it's just, I don't know if this is the time or the place, but up on by Fleet Farm, that big Jensen sign on the corner there, it's
And what's a Jensen? It's
running
just
for
a Jensen
governor.
sign. What do you mean?
Running for governor, Jensen.
Oh, okay, all right.
Ed Jensen. And I know, I mean, I made a complaint to the city, and several other people have too, but it's private property. It's hard to believe, but that little square chunk of property, it's not good for anything. You can't build on it or anything, but it just happens to be a private piece of property, and they can do what they want with it. I mean, they put that sign up. It's just, in my opinion, it's just inappropriate to have a big friggin' sign like that
It'll be down in a couple.
right where it is.
Yeah, we got only a week left.
We got a week, just a week.
If it's my candidate, I kind of like it, right?
But there's nothing you can do about it, correct?
Not on private
Well, if it's a
property.
private piece of property.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Sorry.
Any other questions? Political or not?
Let's try non.
Yeah.
Just keep it non.
Yeah, who are you voting for? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
You bet. Let's do well, we'll go to Commissioner's update, and then we'll, what?
One thing.
Yep,
So you guys had some really good ideas tonight. I will definitely bring them back to the council. And I loved that blue ribbon idea.
Oh, it's still my heart.
So cool.
I'll call Josh tonight and tell him it's done.
We used to get Christmas trees there with my dad when we were kids.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
long time. Let's go to the Community Development Department update. Jamie? Oh, I'm sorry.
Shannon? I don't have any updates that were given to me to share with you all, but if there are updates, then Jamie will be sure to email them to you. So expect that if there is one.
Okay.
Yep. And do you have any questions for the department at all that I can forward along?
I don't know if it's a question, the Glenbrook Small Area Plan keeps coming up, and the city council's working on it. I think this is a really good opportunity for us to be injected in here someplace, again, like in the planning, rather than the, oh, hey, this is done.
I will make a note of that.
All right. We'll then move to Commissioner's update. Luccia? So what we do here is we just go around the table and say if you've got anything on your mind. We usually end it with me or Frank. And,
Because they talk the longest.
yeah. So if you've got any comments or anything that you've got for us?
Or anything going on at Tartan that the
Yeah.
commission would not need to know about?
I know I wasn't really able to add much this meeting, but I was like really thankful to hear everything you guys had to say and kind of find out more about what's happening. And I just wanted to say that I also really like that idea about the blue ribbon shop. I think that's really cool. And some type of restaurant, like a rooftop restaurant, I think that'd be awesome.
Make it all, yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I don't have any updates other than a reminder that it is very important for everyone to vote next Tuesday. So just because it's not a presidential election doesn't mean your vote doesn't count. So this is probably, in my opinion, the most important election. So
I don't have an update, but an apology. I really misread the timing on that. I thought we were having dinner at 5:45. It was pushed back, and, you know, wiggle time on Denver. I'm from New York, I eat quick. So I figured I could be a few minutes late, and I look at Paul like, what's going on? He said, you're like a half hour late.
I almost read it that way, so.
So apologies. So not only did I miss dinner, but I showed up late for the meeting.
Well, that's why Frank got seconds.
I did. So I got caught on that same deal for the last meeting we had. We had dinner at Discovery, and the same thing happened to me. I read it at be there at 6:15. So I was a day late and $1 short, but,
So people, slow down. Imagine you're on the Great Race, okay? Read it, yeah. You've got to have something for me.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
you know it.
yeah.
He's got 3 pages of notes.
I got notes here. No, we covered already a lot of what my notes were, but the Walk with the Mayor events that we had just recently, I was at both of them. The one at the Public Works and the one at the here at the police station. Public Works, in both events, we had a couple people from the community show up besides the council and the mayor that were there. It is very interesting to see what was going on behind the scenes there. Here at the police station, you don't realize until you go on the walk and you start talking with the officers and chief that there is really no privacy in the setup we have right now. If somebody comes in, you think about it, yeah, they got a place, they can hang their hat. Why are they running their cars outside all the time? That's not needed. No, when you talk about the reasons why, you learn about this so they can be responsive. We have a great police department here. We got a great public works. If somebody comes into the police department and tries to report on a sensitive issue, like maybe an abuse situation or maybe assault situation or a child neglect situation, there's no privacy. They make the report and everybody around hears. That just deters from people coming in. It's situations like that over and over and over again that they talked about. Keeping the cars ready so that you get a call and they don't have to spend 20 minutes scraping off a piece of the ice off the windshield so they can go respond to the call. Things like that you never think about until you actually go through and walk with these people and see, oh, this is the issues they're facing right now. And it's just going to continue. In the public works, I think the two biggest things they saw in the public works building were the storage of the equipment they've got. The shelves are overflowing. And they're putting things on the floor. They're putting things in buckets because they have no other place to put things right now. Anything from a tool to something really sensitive. Computers are sitting in real dusty situations. Being an IT guy, I tell you, that doesn't bode well for something that'll last a while. And then the other big thing is the equipment that sits outside because they have no inside storage. Now you've got weather issues adding to the costs, adding to our costs as a community. These things the hoses are deteriorating, the seals are breaking. So now you get out there plowing in the winter with one of these things that all of a sudden they break down in the middle of a plow route. So that's even more delay and more expense to repair that on the road. So that's what I saw with the walk with the mayor. Very informative. I really appreciated that came through. That was happening. So I guess City Council, you had a hand in making that happen. I appreciate that.
And the tax that's going to be on, it's going to be on the ballot. And it is called a something area tax, look,
Sales tax.
right. And the interesting thing that I've been talking about this that I think is noteworthy. I think I toured it about a year ago. In fact, we did a tour earlier in the, right? We actually were invited. Maybe that's when I was on the planning commission. I take that back. But, so I toured both the city, police department, and the other, yeah, Public Works, and saw all that. And I agree with you, we're definitely bursting at the seams. But by doing this, half the tax collected is not going to be from Oakdale residents. So it really spreads it out. I mean, because so it's a tax that people buy at Cub and when they come to purchase here. So for Oakdale residents, I think it's a sweet deal. So I'm just going to put my plug in that, just raise that issue that it's a good way to spread it around. It's not, doesn't fall. The other way to do it is your property taxes or whatever. So it's a smart plan.
If, as my understanding is, if it does not pass, then we bear the brunt of the whole thing ourselves.
Whereas
Everything
we're
comes off
saving
our
about
property
half the
tax.
cost
Yeah.
if we can get this tax through.
Does anybody know what it's going to read as on the ballot? Because I know there's a lot of confusion. I hear it from many people when they go to the polls. Well, is it yes or no? What does that mean? Because sometimes it's conflicting. So I think that.
It's unfortunately, it's an opposite deal. I voted, so I already know.
Oh, okay.
And it does say, do you want to, shall Oakdale implement a half cent or 0.5% sales tax increase for, there's two questions, to do one for the police and one for the Public Works.
Okay.
There's no mention of what happens if it's voted down.
Okay.
But if you vote yes, that means
That means
you're,
yes.
You support
you're
it.
supporting the tax.
You're supporting the tax, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen questions written
Yeah,
differently
so-
where it's confusing, so I think it's a great clarification.
Yeah, I understand that the wording on the ballot is dictated by state rules.
Yep,
So we didn't have
correct.
much leeway in how that was put together.
So is
very
that
lengthy.
something that the city can put out on social media or anything is the actual question? Or and maybe it's already been done, I don't know.
I don't remember, Counselor Zabel did, like a little quick half an hour, presentation on social media. And I don't know if he had the ballot questions on there. I know we can get them, and that's a great idea. We should check with Lori tomorrow, see if we can get it out there on social media.
Yeah, I know that they have made a number of posts just about the sales tax on social media. I'm not sure if any of them include the actual ballot wording, but they do include quite a few links to information on the website, which could potentially include the ballot, but we'll get clarification on that.
I'll add to the social media discussion that my neighbors don't do social media. I have a whole street full of people that are elderly, they're young. Our boy is, he says, Dad, Facebook is like old. Nobody uses it. So thinking of a way to reach other people becomes really imperative. To say, how do I get to my neighbor? How do I get to the people down the street that, they don't utilize those mediums. Word of mouth becomes probably the only tool that we have in our arsenal right now.
There was also a, basically a mailer that went out to all the ones in Oakdale.
Yep, I got that. And that one, sort of like the ballot question, was pretty focused on, here, we're going to want to increase a tax on you. It didn't really give me the sense that, if you vote no, it's going to do this. You're going to have even a bigger tax on you.
I think there are some limitations of how much they can promote,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Their job is to really inform. So I think
And I think
that might,
that's-
handcuff them a bit.
Yeah, and that's what I think is being run into, is that you have that limitation.
So the key there is, my opinion, vote yes. So, Stacy?
No updates?
Okay. Bob?
Nothing for me.
Steve?
Okay.
Dave?
It
Almost
appears
made
that Central Bark, the doggy daycare down by Menards, is now open.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I guess my question is, I'm not sure as a matter of course, does someone from the city like visit a new business when they open? I mean, you see some have a ribbon cutting, some have a thing. I'm not sure if it goes in the.
Yes, we're going to have a ribbon cutting there.
Oh.
So through the chamber and the city. So I think she was at the chamber like 6 months ago. And yeah, they're going to do really well there, I think. So we're looking forward to, we'll get the dates out for when the ribbon cutting is.
We met those two people, and they're very outgoing, gregarious people. They're very, very nice people. I think
Yes,
they're going to do.
and they
I
like
think they're going to do
pets.
well.
They've done a lot of social media. I have gotten numerous ads on the weather app, and then I even got a private text to my private cell from them informing me that they've opened just the other day. I couldn't believe it. They're on top of their social media. They know what they're doing, these folks. Yeah.
Yes, Bob?
I forgot, last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, on my buildings on Helmo, the Animal Emergency Hospital Referral Center had a group that they work with. It's a volunteer program and, or an organization. They had about 80 or large number of vehicles in my parking lot, and about maybe 100 dogs, if not more, that were training. They were doing a exercise where they would go into the building, and there'd be containers there that dogs would sniff and find what they were looking for. They're training dogs or rating them on their skills.
Wow, like a
I saw
competition.
that on,
almost.
I saw that on Saturday and Sundays. I drove by. I thought, what is
You
this?
couldn't
with all
even,
these people
there's
with their
like,
dogs?
it didn't look like you could even drive in the parking lot. It was so full of
Yeah,
cars.
it was packed.
That's great visibility for the city of Oakdale. For, again, another reason that we love having them there. Yeah. Any more?
Yeah, I'm gonna, if you
Are
want
you
to go
done?
Frank,
Excuse me. You passed me,
Did I?
passed me up like a dirty shirt. What's
We
the deal?
tried.
I'm not done. Yes. So I took that police tour on that Saturday morning. I could only be there for about an hour or so, but it's really, really tough for those people. I mean, it's just awful. And the thing that always, the biggest thing in my mind, that the biggest concern is when they have to go out in the wintertime and clean those cars off before they can answer a call, and then scrape the windows and brush the snow off. That's just so primitive, I can hardly believe it. The other thing is, on November 10th, at the Prom Center, there is a Veterans Appreciation Breakfast. Now, it's at 0700 in the morning, which is horribly early, but anyway, it's veterans go for free. If anybody here is veterans, Bob is, I know, and I am. But veterans go for free, and it's being paid for by Slumberland. They're paying for all our tickets. And I'm bringing five veterans, so, I mean, that's 50 times 5. So they've got a great expenditure out there. The other thing was on November 11th, for you veterans, and you don't even have to be a veteran, but you can go. American Legion in North St. Paul is having a traditional military breakfast, SOS. You remember that, Bob? You remember SOS? It's a breakfast that served in the military by the ton. Anyway, it's wonderful. I love the food. But anyway, they're doing it for free. For any veterans, it's free. It's for anybody that wants to go. At the American Legion in North St. Paul, 11 to 2 o'clock, I think. So it's fun. It's a good get-together. Okay.
Wait a minute, Frank, I got one question for you. So the November 10th meeting, the prayer breakfast?
Yes.
Are you being honored for anything that day?
I think I'm being honored for Volunteer of the Year. I think I am. I guess I am. I'm pretty sure.
Have you got a speech prepared or anything?
I'm not. Last time you got it, they said, we heard the Volunteer of the Year, Bill Burns. He went up and got an award. He was done. He didn't.
They've obviously heard me speech going on and on.
You know, there's so much going on. I think they don't want to take time out to hear blowhard like him talk about.
Congratulations,
Affectionately.
Frank.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's hard to follow that.
It is. It's really boring compared to that. I had a city inspector out to inspect my new furnace last Friday. So I took the opportunity to talk to her about all the new development and mentioned how busy she's going to be with all the development going on in Oakdale. She said, "Oh, we're busy." 2,137 roofs so far in Oakdale
Oh.
this year,
Wow.
including my own, but wow. So she didn't really want to talk about the future and how busy they were going to be. She talked about how busy they are now. So kudos to them for all the work that they're doing and all the work they're going to have.
Great. I just have a few things. Tomorrow is the chamber meeting for the Oakdale Chamber, and it's over at the Holiday Inn Machine Shed, which is just across the border in Lake Elmo, 11:15. So I'll invite anybody here who wants to go. Again, vote next week, please. Yes on the taxes, sure, go ahead, I'll take it. And it's deer opener on Saturday, so drive safely. They're out there running around. As Frank would say, they're in rut, so be careful. With that, make a motion to finish this for tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Opposed? Wait a minute. There we go. Thank you.
And no meeting until February,
I think that's right.
because we missed January and December's been canceled.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays, everyone.
Okay.
The other week is that?
Shannon.
Shannon.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Next.
So I'm